See, Broadway looks alive. Thousands of people, music coming out of every doorway, somebody singing on every rooftop, and people holding drinks above their hands like they just won something, but watch closely. A couple people standing around. How many people are completely gone in the moment? I started noticing this here. I noticed this also in Las Vegas, then at clubs, then at private parties. People would come onto the floor for a part of the song, get a video, check the phone, and then disappear. Honestly, at first I thought it was me. That's always the first terrible thought as a DJ. Maybe I lost it, maybe I picked the wrong song, maybe the mix was bad. Maybe I should have played the remix with 17 sirens and a drop that sounds like a refrigerator falling down the stairs. But then other DJs started saying the same thing. People aren't dancing the way they used to. I mean, they're present, they're just not completely present. They're hearing music, but they're not always inside of it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems DJs are facing right now. Not AI, not sync buttons, not whether somebody used a controller instead of turntables. People are losing their reason to celebrate. And DJs are losing their ability to give them one. 10 years ago, I actually moved to Nashville to get closer to the music. And it sounds strange because I already had spent most of my life around it. I started in radio in the 1990s. I programmed music and I studied charts. I watched songs, I watched records explode, and I watched other songs get promoted like they were guaranteed hits and completely die when real people heard them. See, radio taught me that the industry can tell you what it wants people to like. The audience decides whether it's true. Then DJing taught me something even more important. People do not experience music on a spreadsheet. They experience it together. You can see a song travel through a crowd. A few people recognize it, somebody turns around, a group starts singing, people move toward the floor, then suddenly the entire room belongs to that record. There's nothing digital about that moment. It is physical. You can feel it before you can measure it, and that's why I came here. Nashville's one of those few places where you can walk several blocks and watch different experiments happening all at once. Country, rock, hip-hop, live bands, and DJs, tourists from every part of the country, songs competing against each other through open windows. Over the past 10 years, I've DJed on more than 1,000 events up and down this street. I've played on many of these rooftops. I've watched Broadway when it was packed. I watched Broadway when it was empty. And I watched certain songs stop a room. I've also watched songs from 50 years ago beat songs released that morning. After all of those nights, I've reached one conclusion. People have not outgrown music. They've become harder to reach. But that's different. Now, on paper, the music industry is doing very well. Global recorded music revenue reached $31.7 billion in 2025, and that was the 11th straight year of growth. In the United States, recorded music revenue reached another record high, paid subscriptions generating more than $6 billion. There's more music available than any point in history. More releases, more remixes, more recommendations, more access, and somehow a lot of people feel less connected to it. That's the strange part. We've solved access. We didn't solve meaning. For most of my life, finding music took work. You heard something on the radio, you'd call a radio station. You went to a record store. You asked somebody behind the counter. You bought an album without knowing whether the other 9 songs were any good. Sometimes they were terrible. You listened because you paid $17 for that CD, and by track 7, you were determined to make that relationship work. Today, we skip a song before the first verse. We listen to 20 seconds. We save things we may never hear again. DJs download hundreds of tracks because somebody posted a chart, a record pool promoted them, or an algorithm placed them in front of us. We collect music like tokens. Then we wonder why we don't trust any of it when the room gets difficult. A DJ library used to represent decisions, now it often represents access. These are not the same thing. Having 80,000 songs doesn't mean you have 80,000 answers. It means you built a very stressful search bar. See, I don't think DJs have become lazy. I think the tools just became so good at giving us more of what we already know. Every platform studies what you click, what you skip, what you save, what sounds similar to the last thing you played. Now, this can be useful, but slowly the algorithm is going to build a wall around your taste. You start believing that you're discovering music, and sometimes you're just walking around the same neighborhood wearing different shoes. A hip-hop DJ gets more hip-hop, a house DJ gets more house, a wedding DJ gets another playlist containing the same 200 songs every other wedding DJ received. The recommendations become more personalized. A DJ becomes less versatile. This is going to cause a major problem because a dance floor is not an algorithmically matched individual. It is a temporary society. Different ages, different cities, different backgrounds, different reasons for being there. The best decision may not resemble the last song at all. It may be the song that interrupts the pattern. This is why human judgment still matters. An algorithm is good at predicting what resembles your past behavior. A great DJ recognizes when people are ready to behave a little differently. You see, tourists see the sights. I see the grind. I see the singers performing their fourth set of the day. I see musicians carrying equipment down these alleys. I see people singing their guts out, hoping the right person walks through the door. Many of them are doing it for very little money. DJs are feeling that pressure too. Rates are being pushed down. Venues have more entertainment options. And clients believe technology should make the job cheaper. And some people think that a playlist can replace a DJ. And honestly, some DJs are helping make that argument. If your entire job is playing predictable songs in a predictable order, technology will eventually do that faster and cheaper. The defense is not yelling about real DJs. The defense is becoming more valuable. You have to understand why a song works. You have to understand when it works. You have to notice the person who just entered the floor, the group getting ready to leave, the older guests watching from the edge, the argument happening near the bar, the energy that rises when a team wins, the moment the room needs familiarity, the moment the familiarity becomes boring. That's the job. Not pressing play, deciding what play means right now. Last time a dance floor genuinely surprised me was at a college football game. The winning team's fans came out and the kids completely lost their minds. They danced harder than I'd seen people dance in a long time. Now the songs mattered, but the songs weren't the whole reason. See, they'd won. They shared a story. They had rivals. They had tension. They'd spent hours waiting for an outcome, and they then had permission to release all of it. That night reminded me of something. Dancing is not about responsible BPMs, it's a response to emotion. Celebration needs a reason, and I think a lot of people are struggling to find one. People are financially stressed, they're tired, and they're distracted, and they're constantly being shown bad news. They live part of their lives through screens, and they arrive at an event carrying everything that happened before they entered the room. A DJ can't repair the world in 4 hours, but we can create relief from it. We may be more important now than it was 10 years ago. We can't assume people walk through the door ready to dance. Sometimes we have to help them get there. That requires more than louder music. It requires trust. And then, of course, there's AI, and I'm not going to stand here and pretend to know exactly where it ends. Nobody does. But the scale is staggering. Back in June of 2026, Deezer said it was receiving close to 90,000 fully AI-generated tracks every day. On peak days, those represented more than half of the new songs delivered to that platform. Think about that. More than half of the new uploads on some days were generated entirely by AI. We spent decades worrying that DJs had too much music, and that problem just grew an engine and removed the brakes. The record industry is now pushing more music services to distinguish between AI-generated and AI-assisted music, and platforms are developing these detection systems, talking about responsible AI, artist consent, connecting music with fans. See, AI will help music. It will help master records. It could separate stems and build edits and identify patterns. It'll recommend songs. It'll eventually produce an endless stream of music designed for a specific person, room, or moment, and that's coming real soon. But producing more music will not fix our problem. We've already had more music than a human could ever hear. Our shortage is not content. Our shortage is connection. AI can analyze the room through cameras. It can count bodies. It can study movement. It can estimate age ranges. It can compare a song against thousands of other previous events. I'm interested in all that. I have used camera technology to measure dance floor activity. I built tools to help DJs make faster decisions. And I believe technology can make us better, but technology should remove confusion. It shouldn't replace curiosity. The danger begins when we allow recommendation systems to make every decision before we have understood the people standing in front of us. AI may know the song that worked in front of 800 similar rooms, but a DJ has to recognize why the room is not similar. Every generation of DJs has blamed the new piece of technology, the CD, the laptop, the controller, the sync button. Still talking about that. Streaming, now AI, but technology is rarely the final problem. The problem is what happens to our judgment when technology gets easier. Used well, technology gives a DJ more time to observe. Used badly, it gives a DJ permission to stop observing. Used well, AI can help you find the missing song. Used badly, it can convince you that the first 10 recommendations are the only songs that exist. Used well, streaming gives you access to almost everything. Used badly, it makes every song feel disposable. The future does not belong to the DJ with the biggest hard drive. It does not automatically belong to the youngest DJ. It doesn't belong to the person who rejects every new tool and spends the next decade arguing with a waveform. It belongs to the DJ who can combine technology with judgment, fast access, slow thinking, better observation, more intention, and that combination is difficult to replace. One of the biggest things that Nashville taught me was that classics still matter. Not because audiences are stuck in the past, but because certain songs have accumulated meaning. They were played at weddings, football games, and the graduations, family cookouts, school dances, breakups, road trips. A classic does not arrive alone. It brings people's memories with it. That's incredibly powerful because DJs sometimes play classics with no thought behind them because they assume the record will do all the work. A great song can still fail when it arrives at the wrong time. A strange song can become perfect when the room is ready for it. That's why copying another DJ's playlist will only take you so far. You can copy the songs, you cannot copy the moment that made those songs work. You can't copy the history of the room. You can't copy the relationship that DJ had already built with that crowd. You can't copy judgment. It has to be earned through repetitions, through bad nights, through mistakes, through watching, through trying something and immediately realizing it really wasn't that good of an idea. The floor teaches quickly. It does not schedule a meeting for Monday. So what do DJs actually do? Well, first we stop downloading music you don't trust. Before a track enters your working crate, know why it belongs there. Know the moment, know the audience, know the part of the song that earns its place. Second, deliberately step outside your recommendation bubble. Study another city, another genre, another generation. Talk to DJs who work in rooms completely different than yours. Don't wait for an algorithm to broaden your taste. It's been trained to narrow it. Third, study people as seriously as you study music. Watch what happens before they dance. Watch who leads the group. Watch what makes people put down their phones. Watch what causes singing, even when nobody moves towards the floor. Not every successful record creates the same physical response. Fourth, bring moments instead of filling time. A 4-hour event is not 4 hours of songs. It's a sequence of emotional opportunities. Arrival, recognition, trust, surprise, celebration, release, closure. Music serves those moments. Finally, use technology to become more human. Let software handle the repetitive work. Let it organize, let it sort, let it search, let it analyze, let it suggest. Then use the space it creates to look up. Because a DJ staring into their laptop while a crowd stares into their phone is not exactly the technological future we were promised. You see, this right here is why I built Crate Hackers. Not because DJs need access to more songs. We're drowning in songs. I built it because DJs need help making decisions. Every Tuesday night, we bring together DJs on this live hackathon. We study music, we argue about songs, we build crates, we look at what actually works. And sometimes I teach, sometimes I learn. Usually happens within the first 5 minutes together. I keep doing it because music needs discussion, not another anonymous list, not another download folder that nobody trusts. Actual discussion. Why would this song work? Where would you play it? What would you play before it? What makes this version better? When did this record stop working? What region still responds to this? What songs are we ignoring because the algorithm never really placed in front of us? This is how judgment develops. You're going to hear other people explain decisions, and then you're going to test those decisions against real rooms. The purpose is not to make every DJ play the same music. That would be pretty shitty, honestly. The purpose is to help DJs understand their own music well enough to act confidently. We need to rescue dance floors. That sounds dramatic. Maybe it is, but I don't think we're going to rescue them by trying to recreate 1998. We rescue them by understanding the people standing in front of us in 2026. This is also where this channel's going. I don't want every video to happen behind the same desk. I live in Nashville. This city's available to me. The venues are right here. The musicians are right here. The DJs are right down this road. The audiences are huge. The arguments are here. The experiments are happening every night. So I'm taking the show outside, up and down Broadway, onto these rooftops, into the clubs, into the events, into the places where music either works or it doesn't. I want to talk to these performers, the DJs, the tourists, the venue owners, the people dancing, the people who refuse to dance. I want to test these things that we talked about. I want to see whether these charts match the streets. I want to find what songs still connect with people. I want to understand why some crowds explode and others stand like they've been called into the principal's office. This channel is not going to be built around me pretending I already have the answers. I don't. But that would make it much easier, but considerably less honest. I've got the experience. 30 years in radio and DJing. More than 1,000 events in this city. Software, data, a lot of nights watching people make extremely confident requests for songs they simply cannot name. But the industry is changing too quickly for anybody to declare the case is closed. I want this channel to document the search, what's happening to music, what's happening to DJs, what's happening to dance floors. How do we use technology without surrendering our judgment to it? And what does the next version of entertainment actually look like? I am worried. I would be lying if I said I wasn't. People seem more distracted. Some dance floors are smaller. DJs are being paid less. Musicians are fighting harder for attention. More music is being created than anyone else can possibly process. And soon, machines will be able to take an unlimited amount of it. But see, I'm also really excited because when everything becomes easy to generate, meaning becomes more valuable. When everybody has access to the same tools, judgment stands out. When everybody can produce more content, the person who creates the real connection matters more. People are not finished gathering. They're not finished singing. They're not finished celebrating. We are light years away from a world where people no longer want to socialize, but we can't take desire for granted. DJs have to earn attention again. Music has become more than something playing while people look at a screen. We have to slow down long enough to understand what people are hearing. We have to treat songs like somebody's art, not like another token dropped into an infinite library. We have to give people a reason to stay, a reason to look up, a reason to feel part of something, a reason to celebrate. That's why I'm here. That's why I keep showing up on Tuesdays and do these hackathons on Twitch. That's why I built Crate Hackers. That's why I'm taking this channel to the streets of Nashville. I want to be there when the next version of entertainment arrives. And more importantly, I want to help DJs shape it, because the dance floor is changing. It doesn't mean it's dead. It just means we have a lot more work to do. Let's rescue dance floors.